Good morning and welcome to Saturday Staging and Shopping with Sheila. So this week we're finishing up part 3 of the Succulent Rock Garden, and let me show you what I've gathered up and what I've created, and I'll take you on that journey and I'll show you where I get all my supplies from as well. So come join me. Okay guys, so where I left you in the project, I had just placed all of these plants to get a feeling of what it would look like. And when it was done and I had placed them all, it feels too crowded to me. So it looks more like a plant store instead of a garden. So I decided I'm going to spread out and use both sides of the courtyard. So I went back to Atlantic Hardscape in Fort Pierce on US 1. And I got that large pot that I had shown you. And what I'm going to do on this side is I'm going to continue the rock garden and use and plant in that like several little cactus inside that pot. And I'm not quite sure. It's a work in progress, so I'll show you as I decide how it goes. And oh, that looks like it's smiling at me. I just noticed that. They're so cute. Looks like it has 2 eyes and a smile. The next step is to tackle the hedges in the back. They've completely overgrown, and I need to cut them down. So I've got a hedge trimmer, and I'm going to use the bottom panel of that window as my marker. So I'm just going to do a straight row across. And the problem with cutting these is when you cut them, they all fall into the rocks. So I'm putting down plastic so that the clippings fall onto the plastic and make it a lot easier to clean up. So I'm going to trim these, then pull the plastic away and just clean it up. So that's all nice and cut. And as you can see, I used that bottom line on the window. And so I just use that as my gauge. Then I have to tackle, see how all the droppings from these bushes fall into the white rocks? So it just makes it this dark mess up there. So I have to figure out something better there. And I think the solution is I'm going to dig out the rocks. I'm going to put in a little mulch bed and edge it the same way as I did the front of the courtyard. So I'm going to dig that out and tackle that. Okay, so here's the hedges done and the mulch bed is done, and I've used the same rock that I used in the front for the edging around it, and that's going to work out much better when the leaves fall in there. It'll look much better than falling on the white rocks. And here I've thinned out this side of the courtyard. I've taken several plants away, and I've taken some of the rocks away from here, and I have moved them over to the other side. So here I've taken this big pot and I've elevated it. Underneath there are 4 rocks, and I have 2 slate pieces that are making like a ledge. So it lifts it up so that you can see it better from out front. And then around that I've taken some slate pieces and just started placing the plants. Okay, so I'm really happy with how this is looking. I think it's really pretty and colorful. And so on this side I have the big pot that I planted all of several cactus in the center of it. And then I started with the potted plants around it. And on the left side, I've thinned this out, and I'm really happy. It looks much better. I've potted all the plants, and I have a combination of colored plants and solid colors. And the base here, I put like 2 rocks and then a slate to make a ledge, and then put the potted plants on top of that. And in the center there, that's actually turned upside down a plastic planter that I used to elevate that center plant. And then I took the remaining rocks that I had from the edging, and I sort of scattered them throughout just to tie it all together. And then here on the big pot, I had 4 rocks underneath it and 2 slate pieces. And then I laid the other slate pieces flat on top of the white rock, just to give it a different sort of level look than the other side. So it's not quite so uniform. And I'm really happy with how this looks. I like the proportion, I like the color. I think it's cleaned up the area a lot, and I'm really happy. So I want to give you my shopping list of where I got all my supplies. So I got the landscaping rocks and the edging and some of the pots from Florida Falls in Fort Pierce on US 1. I got the large pot at Atlantic Hardscape in Fort Pierce on US 1. And I got some of the smaller pots at Terracotta Art and Craft at Port St. Lucie Boulevard in US 1. And everything, I really price shopped hard, and everything was reasonably priced for good quality merchandise. And I'm really happy with how this is looking so far. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And the next part of the project will be, I have to figure out how to clean up the concrete. Paula, you suggested power washing, so that's the first thing I'm going to try. And if that doesn't work, if anybody has any other recommendations on how to clean up concrete, love to hear them. So remember, if you have any real estate needs or staging needs, please give me a call at 516-236-8895. And remember, everyone needs a Sheila.